concept and importance of liquidity. Remember we said liquidity is the ability to be able to turn resources into cash. That is liquidity. Yes, liquidity is a very important issue for businesses. Liquidity refers to the ease and speed with which assets can be converted into cash. That is liquidity. Non-current assets such as property, plant, machinery, and tools are not liquid assets. Why? Because they cannot be converted to cash easily. You can sell them, but it is difficult for you to quickly get them sold.
Non-current assets.
Non-current assets. Do you get the point here? So that is why when we are measuring liquidity ratio, we only measure it with current assets and current liabilities. Do you get the point? For liquidity ratio, we measure the current assets and current liability because both current assets and current liabilities are things that are of temporary basis. Within a year, they have to get you either get the money or you get the product. So within a year, it's done. So this is because they cannot be converted into cash very quickly. Not like stocks, not like debtors, not like bank cash. It cannot be converted easily. So it may take several months, for example, to sell property. In contrast, current assets are liquid, although some are more liquid than others. All current assets are liquid, but they are not, in terms of how the ease to convert them, they are not the same, they are not at the same level. Like debtors, your debtors might not pay you right now, but cash is easily converted to money. You know, cash is a form of money. There are other forms of money. That is what we're talking about here. Your cash, the amount of money you have in bank, your debtors, they are all form of money. But the easiest one is cash because it means you can spend it as soon as right now. So others are liquidity, are form of liquidity, but the most one that you can spend as soon as right now is cash. Do you get the point here? Do you get the point or not?
Yes.
Alright. Cash is totally liquid and trade receivables are fairly liquid. This is because cash from customers who have bought goods on trade credit is expected to be paid within 90 days. Inventories are the least liquid current asset. This is because the sale of inventories such as finished goods cannot be guaranteed by a business, although the expectation is that it will be sold. Cash, trade receivables, they are liquid assets. Cash is more liquid than trade receivables. But as much as you have sold the product to the customer, you are expecting cash. That is why after cash, it is trade receivables or debtor that is more liquid. Do you get the point?
Yes.
But for stocks, you are expected to sell the stocks you have. Yes, you are expected. You expect to be sold to sell them. But the point is that you don't have the probability of selling them right now. It's not there. There's no guarantee of selling them immediately. They will be sold. Eventually, they will be sold, but they are not to be sold. They might not be sold as soon as right now. So when you are listing the items of liquid, cash before trade receivable, before debtor, before stock, that's how much more you can turn them to cash. So if a business does not have enough liquid assets, it will not be able to raise enough cash to pay its immediate bills. A serious lack of liquidity could mean that a business collapses. So if the business lacks liquidity, the business might fail. Two ratios can be used to assess the liquidity of a business: current ratio and asset-based ratio. So let's go to current ratio. For current ratio, like I said, it is current asset divided by current liability. That is current ratio. So look at it. It said the current ratio is a liquidity ratio and focuses on current assets and current liabilities. It is calculated as this. Your current assets divided by your current liabilities. What are your current assets? Your stock, debtors, cash, bank. These are your current assets. Divided by your current liabilities like your overdraft, your trade creditor, taxes. They are current liabilities. Are they clear? Yes, please.
Is there a specific current ratio for liquidity?
Specific current ratio. This is current ratio.
I mean for liquidity, if you know if the business is liquid.
If the business is liquid or not.
Yeah.
That's why you have to use current ratio. You know, when you use current ratio, what is the implication of using current ratio? You want to know how much money you have, how soon you are able to pay your bills if they come up. That's why we have liquidity ratio. For current ratio, your current ratio are those things you have right now, or those bills that you need to pay within now. So if your current ratio is less, it means you are doing well as a business. Do you get the point? You are comparing your current assets with your current liabilities. If you're having more current liabilities, it's a problem. Do you get it?
Yeah.
If you're having more current liabilities, it's a problem. It means you have a lot of debt to pay. And that is when your current ratio will be high. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right, scroll down, please. Yeah, hold on, I want to show you something here. Okay, look at it here. It said,
So it will, if it's increasing, it's
Not good.
not good.
yeah, it means you're not having enough working capital. Because at that point in time, you are still taking more money outside. You are owing a lot of people. That means you don't have money. Do you get the point?
Yes.
And because you don't have money, then it affects your working capital. You won't be able to run the business. Do we get the point? All right, scroll down, please. Okay, asset test ratio here. Thank you. For asset test ratio, what does it imply? It is your current asset minus your inventory divided by current liabilities. Are you with me?
Yeah.
For asset test ratio, why do we need asset test ratio? We want to take away our inventories. Because inventories are stocks that we have to sell. Yes or no?
Yes.
But we need to know the value of money we have right now. We need to know the immediate cash available when stocks are separated. Please focus here. There's a question even like I tweeted today in asset test ratio. For asset test ratio, why do you need asset test ratio? You want to know your available cash, aside your stock, because the stocks are not sold yet. Do you get my point?
Yes.
The stocks are not sold yet. They are still there. You might not sell them at present. You might not sell them even in the immediate time. You might not sell them. So that's why you are taking it away, to know the funds that are available for your business. So that's why the formula is current asset minus your inventory divided by current liabilities. Your current assets, you know them already. Your current liabilities, you know them. But now, in your current assets, you are taking away stocks. This is part of your liquid, yes. But at this point in time, we want to separate it. So let's assume we are not selling yet. Let's assume we are not selling any. So if we don't sell, what happens to our ability to pay our immediate bills? Do we get the point or not?
Yes.
Yes.
We use asset test ratio to be able to know if we are able to pay our present bills without selling our stocks. Do we have the ability to do that or not as a business? That's what we use asset test ratio for. For current ratio, we only want to know the figures we have. Do we have the ability to pay our debts, including the stocks? All things being equal there. But for asset, we want to try to see if we can sell, we can make our bills, we can pay our bills without stocks. Because most of the time, businesses rely on stocks to pay bills. But that's not too good. You should have other sources of revenue. Do we get it or
Yeah.
not? We move on, please.
Using ratios to make
Goals. Return on capital employed. Yes. So when we talk about return on capital employed, here we're talking about you have invested, you have put money into the business, right?
Yeah.
What comes back to you? How's the profit made? Do you get return on capital employed here?
Yes.
So here it says one of the most important profitability ratio is the return on capital employed rules. It compares the profit made by the business with the amount of money invested. So I have put 100,000 into this business. what is my return on capital? The profit I made from 100,000, what is the figure? That is what we use rows for. Do you get it or not?
Yes.
So here they said, it compares the profit, yes. So the advantage of this ratio is that it links profits to the size of the business. Those can be calculated using this. So if profit is made in the business, it means it has been made based on how big or small the business is. Do you get it or not?
Yes.
Please close that out. That is the point about return on capital employed. If you have placed 100,000 in the business, you would have made certain amount. But if you place 50,000, you won't expect to make the same amount as 100,000. That is the point here. Do we get it or not?
Yes.
For return on capital employed, the more money you invested into the business will determine how profitable the business is.
To increase profit.
Yeah? So here they said the operating profit of Echo Homes in 2016 was this. Capital employed was this. If not stated directly, the capital employed of a business is the value of the capital and reserves plus any current, non-current liabilities. So before we go into this calculation, the amount of money you have invested in the business, you have to take note that you have some long-term liabilities too, like a loan you have taken from the bank. So if you are calculating the amount of money you've made, you should also remember that you need to pay your debts, especially the long-term ones. So don't just calculate your profit, also remember that you have borrowed certain amount of money which you have to pay. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The roles will vary between industries over the 2 years. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about this. Let's go down, please. I think you understand the formula, please.
Yes.
The amount of money you put into the business, the operating profit. From where do you get your operating profit? Gross profit minus your expenses, administrative expenses. Gross profit minus operating profit.
Gross profit minus.
Gross profit minus your administrative expenses divided by capital employed gives you your return on capital employed. They won't give you operating profit immediately. You might be getting the operating profit from your statement of comprehensive income.
Yes, you have to figure out the.
You have to figure out the operating profit from your statement of comprehensive income. Then you use it to find your return on capital employed. Your capital employed is already there. You get your capital, the amount of money you invested into the business. Return on capital employed. The amount of money you invest in the business is your capital employed. The amount of money you invested into the business is your capital, which could be share equity, and it could be your own money. But we're talking about the return on our capital. How do we get to know our return? We also have expenses, from the gross profits to the operating profit.
To the finance.
Yes, so these are part of what we run from the business because they are part of the money we spend. So that's why when we have to calculate our return on capital employed, it has to come from our statement of comprehensive income, which is the operating profit. Gross profit minus administrative expenses divided by capital employed gives you your return on capital employed. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
So they're using ratios to make comparisons.
Let us stay with this chart.
Really? Okay, I'm just going to explain. As soon as you use, we said ratio means you're mathematically calculating different accounting items to be able to know if you are doing well or not. Yes or no? Great. So when you have ratios, like the liquidity ratio, the asset test ratio, the markup, the margin, whatever ratio you have done, you want to know how liquid your business is. That is the point. Because without liquidity, you cannot move the business forward. So liquidity is important. So comparison will come based on what? How liquid you have and how profitable the business is. So when you are comparing the business, you can compare last year liquidity with this year liquidity. Last year profitability with this year profitability. Do you get it? So look at what they will generally said. Ratios can be used to assess the performance and liquidity of the business. The performance which talks about profits, profitability. And liquidity, which talks about the amount of capital, the amount of money available to you that will allow you to quickly pay off for your debt, for your bills. I think it's clear.
Yes.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
Okay. So they can also be used to monitor the progress of the business over time. The statement of comprehensive income and the statement of financial position both shows the figures of the current financial year and previous financial year. This means that ratios can be calculated and compared immediately. So the figures you have from 2016, you have a figure for 2017, you compare. Oh, what's our current rate? What's our liquidity ratio for 2016 now with 2017? Are we progressing or not? That is what they meant by the progress.
Compare the percentage ratio.
Yeah, they said the progress here. I saw progress. Okay, yeah. The progress. It means how are we doing? How are we faring in the business? Are we doing well or not? If we are progressing, that means we are having more liquidity. If we are progressing, that means we are making more profitability. If we are progressing, it means our return on capital employed is higher. That is progress for the business. Is it clear? Progress in the business means what? Your liquidity is getting better, your profitability ratio is getting better, and your return on capital employed is getting better too. Any question about it?